Afternoon, friends. Steve Benoon here. It is August the 27th, 2025. And of course, this coming year and sometime coming up, oh gosh, I don't know. I think it's between October and November, the asteroid 3I Atlas will be passing past Earth. It has really fueled a tremendous amount of speculation of what is this object and mainly because we have heard more so from Avi Loeb, who is I believe he's a Harvard professor, who actually astrophysicist, who has suggested that this could actually be a spaceship. And there's all types of images that have appeared online as a result of that. I've looked at a lot of different videos where people are talking about this and what it might or might not be. And this one here from Jesse over on the real BPE, and it shows here he has done some work on enhancing the image of what was photographed there, and of course, if you look at it from this aspect here, it does look a lot more like could be some type of odd-looking spacecraft. One thing, though, that a lot of people do not realize is that when you take photos of images in space there, keeping the camera still enough to be able to do so uh, and to get it accurately is very, very difficult. These little cigarette or cigar looking shape things here in the foreground of the image of the 3I Atlas are no doubt probably stars in the first place. And I know this firsthand. I have on the shelf behind me a 3000 millimeter lens camera and mounted on a tripod at night, taking the photograph is very difficult because everything is moving in space to begin with, and it normally takes a circular object and makes it appear more elongated or even can have different kinds of looks, odd looks, in fact, as a result of that. Um, and when Jesse did his here, he used some filters and stuff in order to clean it up to try to make it look more realistic of what it may look like, what the shape of this thing may be. And maybe it is shaped this way, but the odd thing is that I have seen objects that would appear looking oblong like this when in fact they're not. Uh, so I don't really know the answer to that. I just and that's no criticism to Jesse by any means there, but that does happen quite frequently. However, though, the light protruding towards the front of this is what Avi Loeb talks about there. It's going completely different from any type of comet or asteroid ever seen before. There is no tail, there is no trail in behind it. And according to Avi Loeb, the object is so small, it should not reflect light until it gets very close to the sun. Uh, so that's another issue. Let's listen to what he has to say about it himself, the Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, and his take on this object here.
They're called Juno, that they could potentially observe it from a similar distance when it comes close to Jupiter on March 16, 2026. And so, it's really up to us to figure it out. And I'm suggesting checking it, in the worst case, if it's a comet, we will just learn more about what kind of rocks exist around other stars. And, I defined a new scale that is currently called the Loeb scale, where 0 means it's a natural object, 10 means it's definitely technological. And right now I would give it a 4. But as we get more data, we could decide if it's a 0 or a 10.
So if we could, okay, so it's a 4 right now, and we'll know more as it passes by both Mars and Jupiter within reason to get some sort of sight eyeballs on it, so to speak. Sir, dark forest hypothesis. Tell us about that.
Right. So that's a proposed solution to a question that Enrico Fermi, a physicist, asked back in 1950 in Los Alamos when he was having lunch and discussing extraterrestrials. And he asked, Where is everybody? Why don't we see them? And one possible answer is they are not very far from us. It's just that they're silent. Because if you live in a dark forest and you're worried about predators, you will not make a noise. And you will watch your environment because there might be someone more powerful than you are. And, we've been, humanity had been broadcasting radio signals for almost a century. So they know everything about us. And once we develop technologies that may be a threat to them, they might come and visit us or at least send a reconnaissance mission. And so that could be the reason for having a visitor just right now when we develop AI, when we have nuclear weapons. Now, of course, maybe it's a rock. But the point is, we are now entering a new era where we will see a new interstellar object every few months discovered.
Of course, that could be very so. Now, the one thing that I have looked at in this, even though that Avi Loeb is suggesting this could be a nuclear powered craft, is why doesn't it stop? If it's coming through as a visitor, why would it just go flying through at this unbelievable speed and not even slow down? Of course, it could be that if it slows down, it would be catastrophic for it. I have no idea of that. But Avi Loeb is Jewish. It's obvious even with some of the things in the background on his bookshelves there. But let me share with you some of the Jewish perspective, though. The Jewish perspective of believing in alien life is nothing new. And this one here is a prime example where they're going to talk about the book of Judges and how that could be a reference to alien life. And of course, I've read it in the Hebrew language. It could suggest something that bizarre. Listen in.
In Devorah and Barak and Sisera. At the end of the battle, Devorah sings a song that praises God for giving them a victory, that praises the Jewish people for fighting a war very bravely, and most importantly for our purposes, says very negative things about a bunch of other people. It is the original diss track. In this portion of the song, Devorah complains about the tribes that didn't show up to fight the war, and also complains about one individual group known as Meroz. Among these verses, Devorah sings, "The stars fought from heaven. From their courses, they fought against Sisera. Curse Meroz, said the angel of God. Bitterly curse its inhabitants, because they came not to God's aid among the warriors." Devorah seems very upset at this Meroz. The question is, who is Meroz? The Talmud has a debate over the identity of Meroz. According to one opinion in the Talmud, Meroz was a strong man who led a small army and should have come to her aid and did not. But according to the second opinion in the Talmud, Meroz is a planet. A planet. When we go back to that verse,
Think about that there for just a moment. A planet? Well, it very well could be. If you look at the book of Judges, it does say, there it is, Kershi Meroz. But what he refers to, though, is further up in this chapter here, when it is speaking about, um, let's see here, right here, in the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, and the highway ceased, and the travelers walked through byways. Or, let me find the other one here. Maybe I didn't even highlight it. Yeah, here we go. Out of Ephraim came they, whose root is in Amalek. After thee, Benjamin, among thy peoples, out of Mecher came down governors. Yeradu is the word for coming down, and it typically applies for like rain, Geshem. Yoed Geshem, which means the rain falls down from heavens. So there are different notations in this song here that does imply something of that of extraordinary. But is of course the whole point of this to begin with is that they fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera, excuse me. And that's probably the most important one right there, is because it is talking about a more of a heavenly battle, a battle that is fought supernaturally. So that's something to consider And as we do that, let me take you also to Ariel Sadok, the Jewish scholar here, who's been on the History Channel. He's been on quite a few different programs there, and never has really been allowed to speak too openly. But what he has said is pretty provocative. Listen to what he says
communicate
here.
telepathically with all of these other entities. There was a race of highly evolved reptilians who matured and evolved on Earth and have since ascended. And they presently serve Hashem, God. And they are reptilian entities, maybe evolved dinosaurs, who knows? I don't think the dinosaurs were so 65 million years ago. They were probably a lot closer than that. But aside from that, an evolved reptilian race. They are referred to as, in the Sefer Yetzirah, they're referred to as the Teli, T-E-L-I. I write all about this. You go search this out.
Teli means dragon.
Sefer Yetzirah says that they rule in this universe like a king on his throne. They're the reptilians. We know who they are. And they know us. We know them by different names. The book of Daniel calls them the Irin, the watchers. The book of Isaiah refers to them as the Seraphim. Now, the Seraphim are the ones who are in the palace of God saying, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. So they're pretty high up there in the order.
Can you imagine that? Reptilian saying Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh? Would make me a little uneasy. I don't know about you, but me, yes. Also, too, here, this is where they're talking about again, Avi Loeb again. Astronomer Loeb claims that 3I Atlas could be an interstellar ship, and its pilots do not want to be discovered. He did not even rule out the possibility of an attack on Earth. And earlier, an astronomer from Harvard suggested a ship of an alien civilization in the asteroid Oumuamua, a mystery narrow cigar-shaped 200 millimeters long, does not look much like a familiar asteroid. He was supported by Adam Hibberd and Adam Crowell from the British nonprofit organization Initiative for Interstellar Studies. So Avi Loeb is not alone in his ideology on this. And by the way, this is from news.ru. It is a Russian news. It was actually in the Russian language. I had it translated to English so that we could look at this a little closer. And I was thinking there was something else I wanted to share on there, but maybe not. Maybe that was the only thing on there. So that is from that perspective there. And then you have in the Insider here, the interstellar object in the solar system turned out not to be a ship. Scientists have refuted the version of aliens arriving on Earth, according to this article right here. And I highlight the purposes behind this. A team of researchers led by Ben Yang from the University of Diego Portales discovered a large amount of water ice in the comet. This would explain, of course, why it can reflect light, because as Avi Loeb says, that an object that small would not reflect light unless it was very close to the sun. Says here, scientists estimate that the ice found on the comet may be about 7 billion years old, significantly older than the solar system itself, which is about 4.6 billion years old. That'd be kind of hard. How do you get the rock before you get the solar system, right? Think of that. Gosh, makes you really wonder, right? In addition to the ice, organic molecules, silicates, and carbon-containing minerals similar to substances found in the D-type asteroids in the main belt between Mars and Jupiter's have been detected in its composition at the same time. The comet shows signs of activity, although the formation of gas plume or coma has not yet been recorded. So that was one of the things that I wanted to share with you, is just to kind of give it a perspective. Could it be an alien craft or something else? Well, the question really, we don't know the answer to that. So that's why I kind of don't say myself that it is. And as I pointed out, you would think if it is an alien aircraft, why would it just go flying by like any other rock would?
In addition to its speed and size, the diameter varies from 20 to 40 kilometers, It is worth mentioning a mass 10 million times greater than that of Muamua, a pronounced hyperbolic orbit and a trajectory that almost coincides with the plane of the ecliptic. The last two facts primarily attracted the attention of scientists, due to which astronomers classified the object as interstellar, that is, not gravitationally bound to the solar system. The asteroid reaches perihelion on approximately October 30th, 2025. It will fly a little closer to the orbit of Mars. The main question that interests the average person is whether the alien is dangerous for Earthlings. After all, if an object with a diameter of 20 kilometers crashed into the Earth at an incredible speed, it would definitely cause global catastrophic consequences. The extinction of 80 to 100% of the Earth's population, a megatsunami and an earthquake, unprecedented volcanic activity, the collapse of ecosystems and an asteroid winter.
That would be bad enough in itself if something like that happened, but there is no real danger of Three Eye Atlas doing any such thing. I forget, I actually had quite a few of these things up here as I was preparing this for Patreon. Let me see why I have this.
A faint speck of light was spotted just beyond Jupiter's orbit. At first, nobody thought much of it. It was logged by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, in Hawaii, a network designed to spot asteroids that might pose a threat to Earth. But this was different. It's funny when you think about it, we spend all our time looking for threats from within our solar system, but the real mystery was coming from the outside. Within hours, astronomers confirmed the impossible. The object, officially named 3I Atlas, wasn't orbiting our sun. Its trajectory was a straight line, fast and steep, coming from the blackness of interstellar space. This was only the third time in history a visitor from another star system had ever been confirmed. And this one was a record breaker. It was moving at an insane 156,000 miles per hour, faster than Oumuamua.
And this is the thing that I was talking about in itself, the mere speed of the thing, right? Why doesn't it just stop? Well, if you're moving 156,000 miles per hour, I don't think you even have time to slow down to stop. What would it take to stop a craft like that in the first place? But then again, as we watch some of the aerial footages that are shown by other spacecraft that come near the Earth and stuff, they're able to move at unbelievable speeds and breakneck turns and everything else that never could be done with any a craft on Earth. And yet they can stop on a dime at that. So maybe it could stop if it really was an alien craft. But I don't think that's quite the case there. We also have Apophis, or Apophis. That's another item that is coming in 2029. It'll be coming in between the actual satellites that we have in our very far outside orbit there, about 19,000 miles up. That's pretty ways up there. And this item here is coming in between those. Let me play a clip for you for that one there, because Apophis, even though it is coming in 2029 and coming very close to Earth, there are some that suggest that in 2036 it could end up hitting Earth when it returns on its next voyage through. Listen in.
In this video, we'll explore everything you need to know about the so-called God of Destruction, its current trajectory, how it will appear in our skies as it draws near, and whether there's even the slightest chance it could collide with Earth. Welcome to territory. This is your space. Imagine waking up one day around the impact site. But thankfully, we're in the clear for now. However, that doesn't mean it's keeping its distance. On April 13th, 2029, Apophis will make a close pass. In fact, this encounter will be so close that it could rattle the asteroid's surface, triggering tiny landslides or quakes that subtly changes its composition or reflectivity.
Think about that there. The thing will come close enough to Earth, as you see in the imagery right here. That's the moon orbit around the Earth. It's definitely in between the moon and the Earth there, but it's a fairly large I think the size of the Eiffel Tower is how big this rascal is there. But at one point, they're also talking about this thing would actually could trigger earthquakes on the Earth. That's how close it would come. Uh, that's pretty scary in itself there. I think this trajectory here was the last time it came through. As you can see, that distance there. No wonder why they believe in 2036 based on some kind of keyhole anomaly. It could actually hit Earth the next time around. I would think too, if it keeps that same change of pattern, yeah, next time around, Earth may be directly in its bullseye ring. If not, let's hope it goes the other side of the earth as it goes through the next time around. But that's one of the ones that I guess most people are more concerned about is that one there. Um, anyway, Stephen Benoon here with Israeli News Live. By the way, I am, if you have not watched these two broadcasts we've done already here on Patreon, I strongly encourage you to do so. I got an email from a lady. I don't catch every email. It's very rare that I catch emails because I get so many. But she was actually asking me a question. Undoubtedly, she's not subscribed to Patreon about the very subject I talk about, the creation of woman from man. And her question was though from the standpoint of Talmudic teachings of androgyny, you know, and it was something that very much concerned her, and so I clarified for her briefly in an email. I said, woman is not just a byproduct of man, but it is a very deep mystery that is. And of course, she was quoting the scripture. I forget exactly where that's at, though. It's one I've quoted quite frequently myself, and that is that where Paul talks about that the woman was taken from the man, but neither is the man without the woman, nor the woman without the man. And he's talking about Christ because Christ come from the woman. And then it really caused me to think of something that I had not considered before. Maybe I have, but not in the depth of what it caused me to look at it. So I'm going to be doing a video on that as well, and that is why Christ came from the woman. There is a very interesting anomaly because she came from Adam originally, but that's for a different reason altogether. And that's one of those really deep dives again. Maybe it'd be worth writing a book on that, but I get so many books started and never get them finished because so many things move so rapidly. And I'm still wanting to finish the book on the the changing of the times and the seasons, which is not actually the right verbiage there, but redemption probably is more important than any other book that could ever be written. I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live here on our Patreon channel. Thank you for listening.